Lgd's turn to ban. Lgd's turn to ban. Lgd's turn to ban. Radiant team ban. Lgd's turn to ban. Radiant team ban. Lgd's turn to pick.
Earth Shaker.
Radiant team pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Sand King.
Lgd's turn to pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Ancient apparition.
Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining.
Right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to this stream here as we have some Chinese Dota coming at you. Of course, the China region going to be the final region finishing off here for the TI7 regional qualifiers. We have one more team to find out from China. Currently, the NA qualifiers obviously finishing up. Freedom versus DC happening. DC up 2-0 in that series against Team Freedom, on the verge of knocking them out and going to TI. We'll keep updated on that. That's happening on the mainstream, of course. We're on this one, though, kicking things off with what is a losers bracket first round matchup. Winner of this will play eHome Keen in then a spot to TI being on the line. I'm Breaky CPK, joined by Lumi here for game number 1 of this series. Lumi, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Chinese Dota is my love. They don't put me in Chinese Dota, so I'm sad. But now we get to cast Chinese Dota. And like you said, we are going to decide who's going to be going home. Both of these teams have some very high caliber players. Your Ames and your Maybes from LGD side is some of the best mechanical players on LGD, and generally that's how they win. They win by having 3 very strong cores, and they just essentially take over the game. Whereas I think Vici Gaming is kind of on the other spectrum. Not to say that they don't have individually skilled players, but they do so more from the supportive end with the rotation from Chuan, and then to take over the game that way through more team coordination.
Yeah, you know, LGD, I feel like everyone was in agreement that the China region was just going to be any 3 teams could make it on. It really wouldn't be surprising. But LGD was at the top of a lot of people's list, including my own. I know I'm not alone in that. I expected them actually to be that first place seed. Of course, they were not. Instead, that went to IGV, and then we had the second place team already going. Why? Their sister team, obviously. So, would it be an upset if LGD is to lose here? Would you think?
I don't think so. As we saw from the C region that we recently finished casting, is that as the tournament goes deeper and deeper, the teams understand each other more. I think coming into the event, I'll be like, you know, Clutch Gamers, the stronger team, the more cohesive team. But as we saw yesterday from the finals, Execration was able to just outplay them and just have a better understanding. And same thing here. I think coming into it, nobody has anything to say about eHome Keen, and they're a best of 3 away from TI. So it's about adapting to the people you're playing against. And I feel like, you know, LGD perhaps is getting somewhat figured out.
Here we go, the draft. Let's start talking about that now, what we have here. Earthshaker, I believe, was the first pick, if I'm not mistaken. Or actually, maybe it was Rubik. But anyways, into Earthshaker, Ancient Apparition. And then a Sand King coming out now. A third pick for Vici going to be happening right here. But AA is kind of the interesting one, I feel like, there. And I was kind of looking back again. Both you and I, we've been focusing a lot on Southeast Asia this event. So doing a little bit of research there. AA's been picked up a fair amount, despite not seeing that heal lineup as a counter. Is that surprising to you, or what's the deal with AA, you think?
To me, it's very surprising because AA isn't picked also to take advantage of his Chilling Touch. And what I mean by that is you pair the Chilling Touch with heroes that could get quick attack successions, or quick attacks in succession to take advantage of all the extra damage without the drawback of the attack slow speed of Chilling Touch. So what you normally see is heroes like Phantom Assassin with the Blink Strike or the Weaver with the Gemini attack. We don't see any of that. Weaver, to be fair though, is a commonly picked hero on the Chinese scene. So maybe we'll see that from the LGD side. But right now, as the draft develops, looks like we're going to see an off-lane Earthshaker and an off-lane Sand King. I kind of expected both these heroes to be the 4, but with the Bounty Hunter and the Ricky coming out now, they're going to be moving up to the 3.
Especially with Sand King. I mean, Sand King's been, we keep going back to. I mean, this hero's across the board has been such a top-picked hero for good reason, but we've been mainly seeing him in that 4 position. So, yeah, very interesting seeing it in that 3 role. Again, I can't say for sure if that's something that they've been doing just in the China scene here in this event, or if that just happens to be something for this game specifically. But yeah, maybe they just really value the Sand King that much, but they also want to get their hands on Ricky. Ricky versus Bounty Hunter. We never got to see this. I don't think we saw either, maybe 1 or 2 games of Bounty Hunter.
Yeah, they're going to be having a great mind game wars early on. I think Ricky has the edge there because Bounty Hunter is always pressured by his mana pool. It's very easy for Ricky to drop wards. He won't break his invisibility by dropping wards, whereas Bounty will, so I think Ricky gets the edge there. There's a lot of combo drafts going on right now. Lgd-Gaming picks up the Ricky and the Lifestealer, so during the mid-game we're going to see Lifestealer hiding inside of Ricky. Ricky roams around and just finds easy pick-off. And now with the pickup of the Chaos Knight plus AA is a very dangerous lane because with the stuns that you get from Chaos Knight, you could almost always set in a Kofi. And as a result, you're looking at 3 to 4 seconds of chain stun, and that should be enough to kill anybody, like even the Sand King. Yeah. So that is going to be what I'm going to be looking out for.
Yeah, very interesting to see the idea of the synergy coming out here. Yeah, AA though, really kind of going back to that. You mentioned the Chilling Touch. The Ice Vortex also, you know, he did get that buff in a recent patch where now he moves even faster through it, but enhancing that magical damage for the likes of the Earthshaker and now the Queen of Pain, who sure enough is their final pick and their mid option. A final pick Queen of Pain, it's almost a little surprising she made it that far, frankly. That 5 spot.
Yeah, I guess coming from the SEA region where we see the mid lockdown so early, like the first 2 picks, you see the mid being selected, so this is kind of a little bit nice changing of pace. But I think this is a very risky Queen of Pain pick because I think Ricky is one of the best counters to the Queen of Pain. Suddenly you're the Quap, are you going to get a BKB down the road? She might have to, and that's not really an item that she wants to get if she could help it.
Yeah. Dragonite, the final pick from Vici here in response. So we do have our mid matchup set up. You know, there's one hero that I noticed that did not get touched the whole banner picks there. Lena. Yeah. Did not get touched at all. So again, it really does show you going from different regions how much things can vary, because that is absurd to me. Hell, NA, SEA, even a little bit of the CIS, like Lena was top priority pretty much in all those games. Not even touched here, though.
I actually think that LGD would have actually wanted to pick up the Lina had they not seen Lifestealer. They didn't want a hero that could go onto the Lina, and then Lina is just defenseless. So they pick up the Queen of Pain instead to have the ability to blink away. But generally, Chinese teams really like pairing the AA plus Lina together. Because what happened there is, as soon as the Ice Blast hits, you just look green at that person. And between the shatter effect of the Ice Blast and just the upfront burst damage that Lina possesses, you just get a guarantee kill. So I think the AA pick was trying to set up for the Lina, and then the Lifestealer pick kind of prevented that.
All right, well, here we go. Game number 1 of this series. Again, best of 3 coming at you here for these 2 teams, of course. LGD versus Vici. And off the bat, we have Ricky up here early on, looking to find a place to put that ward down here. So Dragon at the final pick, again, as that mid matchup, the one that we do have. How does that fare against Queen of Pain? I mean, they snap picked it pretty quickly, I feel like, against the Queen of Pain.
Yeah, I think Dragon Knight has a better matchup than most people would think. Despite being a melee hero, he has a lot of just resistance and health regen, obviously. But in terms of the playstyle, right, Queen of Pain, once you get that first Sonic Wave, you really like to just roam off to the other lane and gank. But as soon as you do that, Ori's going to pop its Dragon form and then just take your mid tower. So it comes in a very big risk when you do make that first rotation as Queen of Pain. And then in the mid and late game, Dragon Knight's one of those mids that's, you know, unlike a Lina that is very tanky and that could just like tank the Queen of Pain ultimate, and you're very likely to pick up something like a Shadow Blade and Blink Dagger, and you could initiate against the Queen. So I think DK matches up against Queen extremely well throughout every stage of the game.
Ori, the one playing that Dragon Knight, of course, the mid player here for Lgd-Gaming. Sitting on the bounty arena, doesn't look like either side. Well, maybe a little bit of contested here for Ricky, as he tends to kind of perhaps go up here, look to maybe steal this bounty arena. Do they have a sentry? They do on Queen of Pain. It's a matter of will she feel confident, or does she want to put it down first? No, it's going to be stolen by Amy, and obviously the ping comes out, but at that point it doesn't really matter. So that's definitely another benefit of having your like Ricky at the beginning.
Yep.
Steal that bounty arena. So
if you have a dust on one of your heroes, then bounty can, or Ricky is unable to make that steal, because if he does make the steal, he gives the first blood. So he walked up the cliff, saw that Victoria and the Queen does not have a dust, so then he gets to make that attempt, and he was rewarded. So very nice deal.
Yeah, also takes away again from the co-op, and now Bounty Hunter, he's going to sit on top of Ori here in the middle lane. A couple of auto attacks to start things up, but Amy's heading over, and it's going to turn into that 2 versus 2 lane. And it's going to be interesting again to see this matchup here. As I said, the mind game's going to be coming out between Ricky and Bounty Hunter. Where they end up, couriers are definitely, you're going to have to be careful with those as well. All throughout the game. I mean, those 2 heroes are some of the best, of course, at getting those courier kills.
Yep.
Throughout here, so.
I'm going to see I see a large issue for this Bounty Hunter. It feels like there isn't a very good lane where you can actually find a kill. You know, mid, Dragon Knight's very tanky. Bottom, there's no way you're going to get a Lifestealer. And then top lane, they're going to make a try here, but you definitely need the AA and the CK to be ready for that gank to come.
Yeah.
So a bounty that can't actually affect the map in the early stages of the game can just fall behind, and that level 6 is very, very important, obviously, for any bounty play.
Earthshaker doing some pulling of sorts here as it goes through the jungle. Schwan gonna pull himself, actually try to get to the creep wave, and it looks like he's gonna be successful with that. So Earthshaker, though, hitting level 2, managing to do so. Obviously going to be somewhat of a difficult time overall in terms of getting free farm by any means. Look at behind the middle tower, by the way. Ricky's sitting there, hoping to get some kind of courier, as we mentioned. Top lane, Cold Feet goes off, but Sanking's Pearl Strike and running away is going to make it wear off, and he'll be fine. So no courier snipe, though. You see the courier's just sitting at that tier 3 tower waiting.
It's fairly obvious. If you don't see Ricky somewhere on the map, you just don't use that courier. Okay. You know, way better getting a snipe. Or way better just waiting than getting it.
That's got to be so frustrating, though. You know, Queen of Pain sitting here. It's not like she needs the salve, to be fair, like right this moment. So I guess in that sense, it's not really the biggest deal in the world. Is Bounty Rune up top here. Look at Ricky. He's going to kind of block Earthshaker even on his way to picking it up right in front of him. So Ricky doing what you'd expect a good Ricky to be doing, and just being a nuisance here.
Yeah, actually denying that Bounty Rune to the Earthshaker is pretty big. Like, he doesn't actually do anything till maybe getting level 6, having access to the Echo Slam. Top lane, though, looks like we might see a kill attempt here.
Yeah, Reality Rift to pull in the stun, and man, that was a lot of upfront damage right there. Yao actually credit on the AA for the kill, but the Chilling Touch no doubt helping as well, and the Dire Courier, sure enough, goes down to the middle lane meanwhile. So a little bit of a last laugh, but first blood in favor of LGD at least.
They did such a good job preventing that courier kill from happening by being so patient. And again, like you said, it's not Queen of Pain like he desperately needed the bot or anything. But that's almost better than in First Blood in terms of gold that you get for your team by getting like Courier. So.
Yeah. Yeah, that Chaos Bolt, though, with the Reality Rift, the minus armor that was applied, and again, the Chilling Touch on top of that, and that Sand King just melted at the top lane.
He might be in trouble again. There is a Mango available on Chaos Knight. They pop it, but there is no detection, so Yang just goes into a Sandstorm. Which
is almost odd, right, considering they're going up against a Riki. You figure, but their Sentry is pretty deep here. They're going to see Riki coming on up.
Yeah, well, it gets dewarded now, so...
Yeah, gets taken out, so now they are lacking that vision. You're going to want to make high priority on that Dustin. 2 sentries are on. Bounty Hunter currently, in fact, going on the Sand King right here, Riki. He doesn't really have anything, unfortunately, so can't really save the Sand King if he wanted to. And that's another kill. Yeah, he's still level 1, and obviously they're aware of that, so there's not even a chance of a smoke screen.
Yeah, that was a pretty careless error by the Sand King. I mean, you knew that they were trying to kill him as Chaos Knight popped a Mango. I wonder what he was thinking. Maybe they won't stun him or anything. Whatever the case is, that's yet another kill given away on the top lane. Amy, though, is doing a very excellent job denying all of these bounty runes. He will hit himself level 2 as soon as he picked the one that is on his side of the map. And I'd like to see some dust purchases on the side of Lgd.
So I was going to get at that. What's the difference between sentries and dust? Like, what priority? You think dust is the priority for Lgd here against the Riki?
Well, sentry obviously has a double effect of dewarding, but also popping in the lane, and you could use it for a little bit later as well. Like, it protects you now from the Riki gang and also protects you 3 minutes into the future.
Yeah.
Whereas dust is like, we gotta get the kill now. With that said, though, having dust, for example, in that rune engagement in minute 0 was very key. Looks like maybe it's gonna picked off here.
Yeah. There's this Riki's MVP 100% for Lgd-Gaming. Without him, this game you got to figure it's going to be pretty different. But great job right there. The smoke screen, huge counter to the likes of somebody like a Queen of Pain. No chance to blink out, and just simply couldn't run out of it in time. So well coordinated, and thus their first kill of the game.
Also, one more thing about the dust and sentry comparison. Sometimes just having the dust in your inventory, and of course your opponents are professional, they will check your inventory and know that you do have the dust. It will prevent certain type of plays that the Riki can make. Like, he can't just aggressively run into the jungle and take the rune, because once you know that he took the rune, you dust him and he just kind of in a very awkward spot.
Makes sense there. So he's going to head towards the bottom lane right now, see what he can make happen down there. Queen of Pain, though, you can tell she's a little pissed off perhaps, comes back to the middle lane and starts the harassment once again on Dragon Knight. 37 and 39 against the 35 and 3 Dragon Knight. So actually a pretty even middle matchup here. A slight advantage for Queen of Pain, but I think it's safe to say you'd probably expect that, if anything.
I think Queen of Pain's losing the lane. Keep in mind that there is a kill there, and she lost a Courier too, right? So
true.
All things considered, Ori is feeling extremely happy.
Definitely a way to look at it. Lifestealer also having a very good time, not surprisingly whatsoever. Armlet is queued up already, and is this one of those games where he gets that armlet and just jumps inside Riki? You mentioned that. I mean, that's some strong synergy right there.
There's an option of going an early Hannah Midas as well, but I think they need to kind of affect the game, because both DK and Lifestealer don't scale into the late game as well as Chaos Knight does. So yeah, going for the armlet first and just basically ramping up the tempo is the way you want to play it. Bounty Hunter is behind the tower and scouts out Yang, but kind of a dangerous dive here to go for the level 5 Sand King.
Yeah, they decide it's best not to really go for anything too crazy. Fall back middle lane, by the way. Somnus here playing the co-op. She almost died again, but did a good job of getting out of the smoke screen and blinking away. Pretty much one auto attack away. Now that was the Elder Dragon form also activated. Obviously, it's still active. He wants to try to get a little bit of damage to the tower that is on top of it as well. Obviously, that's a really strong part of the ability, but having some trouble with that currently. As far as getting the creep wave, man, look at this creep wave coming though. That's 3 ranged heroes, or creeps even. Ready to push this middle tower now, so they should be able to get some decent damage off at least.
Yeah, it's very easy for Queen to defend it at the same time. You pull the creeps off, pop a scream or 2, and there's nothing much that Vici can do about it.
So a little bit of damage done, but as mentioned, not much more. So Dragon Knight, the success here of early on, you argue he's even winning to an extent, getting a power treads, of course, but what do you think the follow-up is to that? You mentioned the idea of perhaps something like a Shadow Blade, or?
Yeah, so I like having some sort of initiation item to put up pressure. Meanwhile, it looks like we're going to see AA being isolated away from his team. The Sand King also on his tail. That is going to be a kill.
Yeah, easy connection for a kill. The Burrow Strike, more than enough. And again, that was a cloak and dagger here from Riki, hunting him down the whole time. And knew that rotation was coming in, so well set up again. And Riki continues to have great effect in this game for Vici Gaming. But, so yeah, Dragon Knight, as far as the item goes.
Yeah, I like the Blink Dagger. I mean, Shadow Blade is also a consideration, but then that makes you have like what 3 invisibility heroes, and that's getting a little bit high in terms of that number.
That's true.
And then BKB is generally the standard follow-up, but in the other regions, like for example in Europe, I've been seeing some Mimi like hood first Dragonite, so I wonder if like that has, you know, spread into the other regions as well. There's a lot of magic damage coming out from LGD, so there is perhaps a time and place for the hood first, but I really doubt that's going to be the case. And it looks like he's got the drums queued up. This is very old school.
Okay.
They're basically looking to fight, basically 15 minutes on, fight, non-stop.
I feel like we've been seeing a fair amount of drums being picked up, honestly. I don't know if that's just because we've been seeing heroes like Bat Rider, so it happens to be a coincidence, but definitely feels like drums, you know, it's gotten a couple of buffs over these patches here, and maybe teams are giving it a little bit more attention as a result with what's happening. Yeah, the danger of a DK picking drums is you're already a hero that doesn't scale that well, and drums isn't an item that scales well into a late game at all, so you're basically putting a lot of eggs on that early game basket. Yeah. And if it doesn't get you a bunch of kills, then you're in a lot of trouble. Looks like Bounty was able to snipe a courier. Oh yeah, Radiant Courier going down, so sure enough, both sides now feeling that pain. Another Courier falling, can't say I'm too surprised with that going on. Ricky, he's sitting on top of this Earthshaker meanwhile. And I mean, he's spotted both the A and the Earthshaker over here, so he's given this team all this information, even though nothing's actually happening. Again, it's just the idea that his team has that information to work with. And thus, they're going to actually end up spreading out and going elsewhere. Now, ideally, Bounty Hunter's doing the same. We just saw that he sniped the Courier, and he is going to be heading back towards the top lane even. Is there something Bounty Hunter should be doing, you feel like, as far as making priority this game? If you're not actively, like, stealing rune from the other side or sniping Courier, which he has been, hold that thought here. Yeah, Epicenter going off right here. Is this actually going to be enough damage? On the left should definitely secure it in the end. And yep, sure enough, Amy goes down on that Chaos Knight. Now Cold Feet applied to the Sand King. Going to wear off, though. Gets enough distance. I don't think he's getting out of this one, though. Maybe. Does eat that mango, but the Sonic Wave to finish the job. Still good play, though. Force out the Sonic Wave, which is a very long cooldown ultimate. Maybe could have gotten the kill just with the screen. Oh, if it's confusing, he's tagged up a Somnus, but this is actually maybe. That's his official. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, just going by what I see in the game there. But yeah, no, that makes a lot more sense then. Yeah, maybe. Because I keep randomly throwing the word maybe. Maybe you're getting confused. So. All right, try to refer to that from moving forward here also for the viewers there. But yeah, gets cut at the top lane and going to slow down his progression towards his own armlet, in fact. Yep. So I think you were asking me what Bounty Hunter should do. Yes. He needs to get level 6. So I'd like to see him actually just like do less roaming, sit in one of these lanes and just grab levels. Looks like they gave the Tome of Knowledge to Yao on the Ancient Apparition up top. And both of these supports desperately need 6, and they think that the AI class is more important, and we'll see it easily pay off here. I mean, that's an Ice Blast and an Echo Slam used in coordination for a solo Sand King kill, but, you know, Echo Slam, especially this early on in the game, you can't be holding on to it for the big team fights. Juan is trying to get himself some levels, and they do not break out of invisibility for a kill, as there's not much mana left on any of the heroes. This is a massive stack, though. Holy crap. He had that Echo Slam now, man. Yeah, right. Honestly, you could argue it'd probably be worth farming all this. Amy, of course, already here to steal some experience. He's being very annoying. I mean, could he kill Urshik? Oh, that sentry goes down. And this is where a spot where if they pop the dust, Amy's probably dead. Yeah. But instead... He wants to try. Smoke? No. Going for it. Blink Strike. No, that's not enough damage, actually. And now he's in trouble. Where's the detection, though? They don't have a dust. He TPs and he's fine. LGD killing me, man. That if they had dust, it would have been 2 to 3 Ricky kills. Yep, you gotta. I'm expecting to see that dust being purchased any second here after that, especially. That's one of those, like, it's like a reminder that, yeah, you need that dust, as you just mentioned, at least one, if not a couple of kills even. Yep. On this rookie. So yeah, we're playing in the game where both cores at one position at least do pick up Armlet. In fact, both do have it now. So, and right away, Lifestealer jumps inside Ricky. So here we go. They're going to move towards the bottom lane, it seems like. Yeah. More than Lifestealer, this Chaos Knight really prefers playing with the Midas, because he doesn't really farm that well during the mid game. But he's respecting the fact that Vici-Gaming is itemizing for a very high tempo game, so he has to respawn. If he goes for Midas here now, and Vici connects a couple of ganks, he can fall really behind. Yeah. Queen of Pain gonna run into that trap as mentioned, needs to get a good smoke screen off. With the Infest Bomb though, you'll see Rubik porting in down there, but gonna be a little far away as Oblivion Staff is purchased by Maybe here. So that Orchid coming along for him, but Amy's just sitting very patiently. However, there is a lot of support coming in now, so they got to be careful with this timing. They're going to go for it. Is the support going to be enough, though? It runs in. It's not going to be in time, however, and down goes the Quap. Great coordination again from Vici, and that's pretty much the key kill they could have asked for.
They might get more here. Drums get popped on Ori, goes straight on the Ancient Apparition, but what a fissure. Yeah,
fissure blocking him on the other side, but for a hero like Ricky, he doesn't give two craps. Blink strikes right over. They'll finish the job, so Schwan actually credit for the kill right there with the zap.
I really like the patience that the Ricky exhibited in that engagement, because I think a lot of players would have went for it with the Ricky Smoke Cloud and the Life Slurve, but it wouldn't have been enough because Queen of Pain had like a 7 or 8 magic wand charge there. They definitely needed the Rubik lift. And they did wait for like the extra 15-20 seconds to ensure the kill.
Bounty Hunter and Ricky running right next to each other. Obviously, aren't aware, but kind of funny. Both actually do have dust now on them. So playing that game of worthy to find the other if it comes to it. 1,300 gold saved up the tanking, by the way. And as I say this, going to be pulled in by the Reality Rift. Does get the Pearl Strike off, but Queen of Pain going to run him down, and Chaos Bolt actually finishes the job right there. So Amy on the Chaos Knight. Kill for him, and back to the top lane to continue farming. That Blink Dagger on Sand King continues to be delayed now 14 minutes into this game here.
I really like their choice of actually just sending gank parties up to the Sand King over and over again. I think actually he is probably the most important member to slow down. Like DK and Lyser is going to get theirs regardless, but the longer you could delay the Sand King, the more useless he becomes. And now Amy walks into a Sentry Ward.
And he does. That's the Shrines popped as well. They come out with the Dragonite Invis with the Lifestealer and Best Bomb inside, but now Dragonite running. Again, he is tanky. Pops those drums to continue running on top of that. Puts out the Breathe Fire, but pulled right back in by the Reality Rift, and eventually enough damage to get the kill. His Ice Blast not be necessary right there. So it did cause them to use the Shrine, but a kill on Dragonite definitely worth it if you're LGD there. Back to farming they go.
Look at this Dragonite build. He's got that hood.
You're right.
I think this is super risky. Did you catch the game where Mushi played Shadow Fiend and he went Yule's Blink?
Yep, I was watching that, yeah.
So this is like a very non-traditional way of playing these mid-cores that are supposed to like right-click more, but they're building it more like Alina and a Puck. So even though we don't see the Alina and Puck in this game, oh my god, a huge Echo Slam and Sonic Wave. Where did they all go?
Oh, they're in their graves, unfortunately. Gonna have to wait a little bit before they come back out from those graves. But you're right, Dragonite actually finishes the Hood of Defiance, so a little more old school as you're getting at, living in the past year of sorts as Ori in this case. But when you kind of look at it in the big picture, you know, it is that more greedy now. Eventually the pipe is going to be that teamwork, but the thought with Bounty Hunter is actually going to be found by Ricky, and more so Rubik, that is, and Dragonite Breathe Fire to help finish it off. How actually credit for the kill on Lifestealer. I mean, the pipe this game is going to be pretty good, but the downside is, of course, Dragonite, as far as his damage dealing presence, isn't going to be as much there.
Right, so he's building himself into like a frontline blinking stunner, so think something like even a Centaur instead of a Dragonite. So looking at the context of this draft, imagine if this game goes in like the 40-50 minute territory. I have no idea how Lgd-Gaming would do any damage. Like, you're looking at a damage source coming out from your Sand King and a pipe Dragonite. So it's really up to Lifestealer to carry the whole team on his shoulder, and I'm not sure whether Lifestealer is a hero that's capable of that. So again, Lgd-Gaming taking some huge risks. They need to actually connect pretty much every smoke gank that they go for right now.
Yeah, I think that's the key. They need to have these infest bombs work. As you mentioned, the smoke ganks coming out, and they're going to find the Bounty Hunter. I mean, Quap would have, of course, been the better target, but they'll take what they can get. They get the Bounty Hunter.
Huge mistake by the Bounty Hunter. He gave away Track, and now Chuan has it.
Oh, wow.
So that kill, it was on a, what, 4 or 5 position support, but like 5 people got Track bonus kill. That's an extra 250 gold on a kill. And they transition right into a push. Having Track available when you're going for this kind of early game strategy, essentially for free, that is amazing for Lgd-Gaming.
Yeah, that is huge value for Vici indeed. The Sentry goes down to spots Ricky at the last second, so they do have that information that he was nearby, scouting them at least. And now they're going to maybe use a Dust right here. Almost feels like that they were thinking about it, but not going to be the case.
Hashtag if that Sentry was a Dust.
That's a good point.
It's like the 8th time that happened.
Yeah, they've scouted him like exactly. It seems like 8 times almost for just with these entries, but they just can't simply finish off the catch because he's out of range by the time they realize. So Quap continuing to farm up that Orchid. In fact, I think she has it being delivered now. So she has an Orchid with those power treads. Somewhat squishy still, but now she has that extra kill potential. You got the Armlet as well as the Echo Saber finished on Chaos Knight. Seems like a pretty good timing overall, and of course the Blink on Earthshaker. Yeah, this is where everything's kind of starting to come together for LGD.
Yeah, I'm surprised that you remember that mid-early kill where they blink, echo slam, they got the sonic wave. They didn't. It feels like they didn't get much more beyond the tower they got right after that.
Yeah.
Vici-Gaming evidently not very afraid of those ultimates, as they were cooldown just now, but they are back up. But despite of these ultimates being back up, Vici-Gaming is playing as they only exist. They are aggressively making roams. They're looking for kills left and right.
Sand King down here. He's living life on the edge. 1900 gold saved up. Again, he's so close to that blink, but smart on his part to not try to farm out that bottom lane because they were setting up to definitely gank him right here. So at least he survives. But man, that had to be tempting to try to farm out that lane, but got some kind of information. I mean, you look at the vision on the map, by the way. Very aggressive wards coming out here from LGD. Got to thank Bounty Hunter for that, I'm sure. As far as getting that down, and they're controlling the bottom side of the map, at least currently, and that allows for an easy tower push down here. As Waffle just pushing the lane, not much really defense put up. Top lane, though, they're going to go for the Earthshaker. He's going to go for a TP out. It's not going to be enough. Burrow Strike connects and eventually finish him off. So they do get a turn kill the top lane.
And that's the blink on Yang. Getting blasted on that kill. Very important for him. He is still very delayed, though, so.
Better late than never. As of now. Mentioned lack of damage. I mean, Ricky's definitely a hero that can kind of eventually get to a point. Now, obviously, you can't really heavily rely on that, but he's working on Diffusal Blade. Is that going to be a high impact, you think?
Sure, I mean, if you finish it, but Ricky is not a hero that can farm. He can't jungle that well, so he's just basically getting this from passive gold and hero kills, which may or may not happen. Victoria's going to get found, lifted immediately. That is should be a kill.
Yeah, they don't need dust for this one, especially when they have to. He actually dusts himself. He's like, screwed up dying anyways. Might as well try to catch the Ricky. Chaos Knight, Phantasm. Used right here. Dragon Knight's actually dropping to it, and he just melts right there in the midst of the Ice Blast. But now Life Stealer wants revenge for his teammate, and revenge he'll get, damn it. Chaos Knight, the open wounds are off. He's just barely limping around. I mean, he's so tanky, but obviously not taking up. But the Illusion's doing so much damage still. Get the kill on Ricky.
That Sayonara Dust from Ricky was what set up that kill, right? Because he knew that his teammates didn't have detection. So he was the only one detection, popped it before dying, and great micro here by the Chaos Knight player. Just stick those illusions onto the Ricky.
Yeah, getting kills after death, so well played indeed by him. He does finish a Sage now, and actually Heaven's Halberd's going to be coming out for him. I was actually kind of wondering if Lifestealer was also thinking about going that direction. I mean, it seems like a game where they both could kind of use it for the evasion purpose, as well as disarming the other melee core here.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of those back and forth hits by melee heroes, and then they realize, oh, I can't hit. So these team fights going to get pretty interesting. 011 is working on a Yule Scepter on his Earthshaker, which I find somewhat surprising because of the prevalence of the smokescreen. I feel like if you get ganked by the smokescreen cloud, you need to force yourself out of there instead of getting the Yules. Also could help your teammates.
If only there was an item that had the word force in it, that'd be good against that, yeah. Well forced out. Seems like that would be the better choice. I agree with you there 100%. Maybe an oversight on his part, but definitely, I mean, he's not 100% committed towards it just yet, but it seems like that's where he's going, of course, with what he has queued up. He does have the Staff of Wizardry on him, actually in his backpack there currently. AA, the urn picked up, but AA is kind of an interesting hero too. It's been a while since we've really seen consistent AA especially. But I know this hero really counts on as Reality Rift. Oh, that was a blink strike right as the Reality Rift was going out. And he actually gets away as a result. That was funky timing. Ice Blast comes in. It's going to connect on a Ricky action. Helps secure the kill onto him. It also caught the Sand King actually the back lines. He goes down to the Sonic Wave, and Rubik's going to explode as well. At least Lifestealer's able to get the hell out of there, but beautiful coordination from LGD.
Yeah, great play, especially from the Shaker. He knew that the Ricky was dead, so he didn't spend too much time on him anymore. And then he went for the targets at the back, so ensuring that his teammates pick up a couple more kills. And I do believe that was 2, if not 3 track kills for like 4 heroes. So we're looking at least 500-600 extra gold for the rest of the game. That's a very quick win.
That is, and so as I was getting at before that fight breaks out, of course, dude, Roshan here going to be free. Roshan kill. Yao here on AA. Is Ag something that he needs, or is it just, is that really not that necessary, you think?
I don't think it's necessary. It's one of those like very nice luxury to have. Obviously, it also gives you quite a bit of extra survivability. But it's one of those items that it's 4K gold, and before you complete it, all those like little stats, like the 200 extra HP, a couple hundred extra mana. All of that is very irrelevant, right? So if you think about the context of the game and how fast it's going, by the time you finish the Axe, the game might have been already decided. So I really like the choice that he's going for like now. Just smaller items that can impact the game now. Urn just helps you rejuice up after a fight, helps you extend into a tower push if you don't have enough HP, things like that. I prefer this, the lack of AA Axe in this game because it's going so fast.
Ricky's just sitting on top of AA this whole time, but obviously by himself, there's no way he's just really being information. Maybe you can wait to see if he casts that Ice Blast somewhere else, so you know, can kind of be that info for the team if necessary. Earthshaker was having fun at the bottom lane. Looked like him and Sankey were kind of going at it, but and they're walking away from one another, so not much happening there. But Queen of Pain, Lincoln Sphere is almost finished, and I'm looking at this opposition here. I mean, Lincoln Sphere does actually seem like a pretty good item to have this game.
Yeah, a lot of single. In fact, all of the disables for the most part are single targeted, right?
Yeah.
Burrow Strike, the Dragon Tail, Telekinesis. So being able to block one means she has half a second of extra reaction time to get away.
Steals the invis there. Does Rubik. He actually dusted, saw the bounty hunter. It's like, all right, I'll take your invis, sure. How about my mobility a little bit? Just a fun interaction there. Oh, meanwhile, speaking of that Rubik, the invis not going to help him so much in that case. As he gets found by 3 heroes, and a 4th one in bounty hunter actually even going to join them. Got delayed. I don't think track was up, but nonetheless, Heaven's Halberd finished by Chaos Knight, and of course that Aegis is on him for still much longer. As they're going to push this tier 2 tower. So Vici finding themselves in a gonna have to make a decision here shortly. Do they defend or do they let that tier 2 go? Tough call.
I don't think they could really defend it. Ori's Dragon Form just ended, so that's pretty much it. That tier 2 is gonna go down. I really think the issue currently for Vici Gaming right now is, despite all of that information that they're getting from Ricky, they don't really have a way to fight, have a good selection for a fight. They just don't have enough burst damage comparing to Lgd. Like, we're comparing things like Sonic Wave and Ancient Apparition Ice Blast to what? Fire Breathe and Burrow Strike. It's just on a different tier in terms of burst damage output. So when the jungle skirmishes happen, it's much easier for Lgd to chain a kill into another. And Vici Gaming is just not having enough items, enough damage to take a full-on fight. And again, sorry to cut you off, no. But the big danger for that is Vici has gone for this early game, mid game strategy. They bought a pipe or bought a hood on the Dragon Knight. They bought a drums on the Dragon Knight. Yeah. These items are not paying off. And 10 more minutes of this, I don't see how Vici could win.
Well, yeah, going to that even further, again, when you get those items, it's not that that was a massive issue necessarily. It's like, that means you need to just go there. You need to make these fights happen. You need to be willing to group up and get these ganks or even pushing towers. But it didn't even necessarily feel like that was going to be the best choice. Team fight presence on Lgd is very strong. So I guess you can look at it from that perspective and be like, yeah, it maybe just wasn't the strongest item choice, even in, not even necessarily the hindsight factor here. But yeah, I was going to also address how you brought up about Lifestealer lacking that burst damage follow-up. And it actually almost does seem like that's an oversight by this Radiant side as well with a draft, because you're right. I mean, when you think of a Lifestealer Best Bomb, it's great, but you know, you usually do have something like that Sonic Wave Burst to then finish off the job or whatever it may be, where, you know, there's nothing really that screams out, we're going to help finish you or finish off the kill with that Infest Bomb. But speaking of that, Ricky jumps inside of the backlines. Chaos Knight really spread out from his team, but Lifestealer, can he really do much back here? Earthshaker throwing himself in the air with the Eel Scepter. The Echo Scepter goes off. He says, all right, we got to fight this. Sonic Scream, the Sonic Wave, that is, will finish the job on a Lifesteal. They also take out Ricky, and now Dragon Knight. Look at this Chaos Knight. He's actually still alive. Remember, he actually has the Aegis. Hasn't even used his Phantasm throughout all this, but now Queen of Pain, she overstepped her boundaries. Can't get her blink off in time. That was a bit of a no-no right there from the Quap, and Chaos Knight barely healed up to at least keep the Aegis. So Lgd maybe got a little too deep right there.
Oh, they want to go deeper again, back into the fight. They see the Dragon Knight. Dragon Knight should likely go down, but how with the buyback goes right onto Yao. We'll get that kill. Nice disarm here on the Dragon Knight. The Aegis will get triggered as well, so Lgd definitely overstaying the welcome now.
Well, now he has Phantasm, so this is why he held it off this whole time to be able to use
Silence,
it now,
though.
but he's silenced up, and that means trouble, and he's dead. Oh, no.
That was a pretty brick throw.
Yeah, VG, that was huge for them, and actually it's not going to be done just yet. Bounty Hunter want to finish off the whole team wipe right here, and damn it, they'll get it as they take out Bounty Hunter. Yeah, I noticed that about Chaos Knight too. He was holding off the Phantasm that whole time because he's like, I want to use it after my Aegis, right? Well, obviously that did not work out in hindsight there.
I wonder if he was holding on to it because Sanking also held on to his Epicenter. I mean, as soon as he casted the Chaos Knight ultimate, an Epicenter just cleans out all those ultimate at the same time as well. Ori, by the way, in quite a bit of trouble.
Bottom lane is finding himself in a tight spot. Gets heals done up. Ice Blast comes through. He actually is forced to use a now an 8-second BKB, I guess, to get out. So he will survive, but that's a BKB that's already down to 8 seconds here.
Yeah, so before that big dive on the bottom lane transpire for LGD, and okay, we're good. I felt like LGD just understood that they were so much stronger. How often do you see a team take a tier 2 without killing a hero and then just walk straight up to the tier 3 to hit the building, right? Like, you never generally see that in Pro Dota. It's just too unsafe. And the reason that LGD was able to do that was because they're so far ahead, they just think that Vici don't have enough damage, and they are correct in that assumption. However, the problem is if you dive past the tier 3 and go into the base fight under the tier 4, suddenly half your team is out of position, half your team is being hit by the tower. So I think LGD had ultimately the right idea. It's just the execution was a little bit too ramble.
With a hero, in the case of Queen of Pain, maybe there was the one that really just overextended. I mean, he was basically almost going to the fountain to try to get some kills, and it's like, you can't be doing that when you're first trying to go into the tier 3 tower in the first place. So top lane now, they're trying to make up for it. LGD, a great wraparound. Ori's in trouble right here with the open reality rift, pull into the midst of everyone. There's the Phantasm use, and that's an easy kill on a Dragonite. He's dead for a good minute. Rubik don't see him getting out of this one now either. He too will get picked up. He stole a fissure, trying to help save his teammate, not to be though. Ooh, Ricky will barely get out, as will Sandking. Is sneaking around for the time being. But 2 important kills, especially the Dragonite. And again, LGD kind of making up a little bit of sorts. They still have a lead, a 5,000 net worth lead. And this Queen of Pain may be a mistake diving in that middle or the bottom lane there, but she almost has a Shiva's finish now, which is obviously going to be good moving forward. I
really like the timing that they went for that smoke, right? Dragonite just BKB TP out, and that was, like you said, what, 9-second BKB, so it's going to be cooldown for 65, 70 seconds. And as a result, they know that Dragonite is essentially down 4k net worth. The BKB on cooldown does nothing. So they just took a fight. They were able to find them as a very good backstab and punish them very heavily for that. So that's 2 more try kill for the Bounty Hunter and friends. I think LGD is very much so running away from this game.
11 right here on Earthshaker. He almost has his BKB finished himself to go with the blink and the yields that he picked up earlier. This is a very farmed Earthshaker.
Yep.
We've seen this in a couple of cases in the NA region. I know teams like Complexity and so on have been running it too. So Earthshaker getting a bit of farm and make an impact with it. What do you think of these farmed Earthshakers? Yet they're not going the whole Silver Edge Chrysalis. I'm disappointed.
I think that's more of like the pub one-shot build. It does have legs in terms of the high-end damage output, but you don't really need those crazy damage items, because if you look at Enchant Totem, it's still like a massive percentage, 400% increase. You don't need to have too much damage on your hero to need Daedalus and all that stuff.
That's fair.
Ori picks up the kill here. Nicely done.
Yeah, good find. Again, it's only AA, but at the same time, it's still a nice kill for Vici, and something that they can work off of here. And you see Dragonite, by the way, he's now working into a Maelstrom all the way into Mjolnir. What was that?
Shaker all chats at 27:19. Is that the Roche timing?
That must be, yeah.
He's like, I know that you know that I know that Roche is dead.
Mind games, man. I wouldn't be surprised if he purposely did that.
There was actually some Chinese memes going on that I think 3157 or whatever number was that Roche did. And the funny thing was, at that exact time, 3157, a team just ran up the hill and just fed away 5 kills. So the meme was like, one team told the other team to throw at that exact time, and it actually happened.
Oh god. Well, we're coming up to that mark. We'll see if that anything like that happens now. Shiva's just finished on Queen of Pain though. She's level 20 as well. Has 300 extra health, but of course 25 is a big thing. Top lane. Rubik, you are dead. That's track gold as well. Nice for that. Dragonite though with the Infest Bomb, they jump on out. Earthshaker, he cannot get off the Echo Slam. So obviously working out pretty well for Vici right there, and ends up being a 1-for-1 in this fight. Queen of Pain going back in. She's going really deep right here. And once again, a little bit too deep. Queen of Pain, she's going to fall down for 70 seconds. In comes the Phantasm Army though from Chaos Side, and down goes Life Healer. So this still might work. And oh my god, that Reality Rift pulling right on the Dragonite. He is tanky though. The Disarm comes out, it looks like, but it's not enough. Down goes Dragonite still. The Epicenter's bouncing off, but it's going to be a triple kill for Amy in the midst of this. And now Ricky. Is he still in a little bit of trouble? I mean, he's invis, I guess.
He's right out.
They do see him. Okay, yeah, they're going to pull him right back in, and he will too.
Okay, so the funniest thing is that right here, he was right out of Sentry War range, and then he saw the gems, like, okay, let me pick it up. And then as soon as he picked it up, I guess the illusions had like auto attack on, and they just
right
like
to him.
crit the bejesus out of him. He didn't die immediately, so he panicked and blinked towards his place, which is blink closer to even to that Sentry Ward, and just quickly died. But that is Chaos Knight for you. If you don't take care of him and his illusions, you just die.
And to think how that all started, that was maybe just kind of diving in, and it's just like, all right, that seems silly. You know, he died pretty quickly, but then the army came in, as you mentioned. That's kind of Chaos Knight for you, especially when he gets to a point like this, where he's got some decent farm. He's going to have an AC soon. That army of Phantasm, if you do not take care of those illusions, they will absolutely wreck you. So, Queen of Pain or not, didn't matter in that case. There's another Aegis and even the cheese given to Chaos Knight so far.
Yep. To me, that last team fight was the worst case scenario for Vici Gaming. Let's like remap how it actually happened, right? Queen of Pain blinked in, unloaded her stuff, and died immediately. So they lost a lot of burst damage from the Lgd side. Then Chaos Knight went in. You know, we keep talking about taking care of those Phantasms. He ate a full Epicenter. So that is all of Vici Gaming's AoE. Those illusions did not die. And they will only get tankier moving on in the future. As now there's Aegis on him, there's Cheese on him. I think this is it. Like, Ame is immortal unless he's in the fountains.
Well, you know, they went a little deep earlier, so you know, hope that doesn't happen again. But yeah, it seems like, and especially if he follows this up, this AC which he just finished with something like a heart. I know it's a pretty popular build on Chaos Knight.
Yep.
Good luck. Good luck killing that hero, let alone his illusions, and that's just where he's
out
of
of slots for heart stuff. That's the, I guess, the silver lining for Vici, right? Like he loses his Aegis, he has Echo Saber.
I guess, yeah. I think you could get rid of the armlet at that point.
Sure.
But
or, yeah, whatever you feel like getting.
Yeah, pretty good item there. So I'm sure he'll sell something to upgrade there, but that. But even without it, even with just what he has now, it is a very scary hero, of course. So Queen of Pain, and working on our BKB now. That will help her be able to dive a little more friendlier in these upcoming fights. We're gonna go back to the bottom lane though, try to finish what they started earlier on at the tier 3 tower. They don't go too deep though, that's the key. Epicenter is ready for Sand King. It's only level 2, almost level 3, but just not there as that was pinged out. They saw them smoke up, I think, so. Oh, but they're gonna spot the Riki, actually gonna force out to deal with the tricks of the tray. But meanwhile, the Infest punch out to the Dragonite. The BKBs are popped. They get the kill on AA, and actually 11's forced to run away as well. He still has Echo Slam though. They can't finish the job on him. Chaos Knight running in. The Phantasm army's up, and they go right for the Dragonite. He's gonna be stunned by the Pearl Strike, however. He pops his own BKB though, and now Dragonite has to run. He takes a Chaos Bolt to the face. In the backlands, they kill Lifestealer, by the way, and they're gonna kill Dragonite as well. Lifestealer's staying dead. The Epicenter goes off, but again, just like last time, it just doesn't matter. Well, maybe the army is dead, but can they really kill the main targets now? No, they cannot. Queen of Pain takes out the Sand King. Schwann's gonna fall here on Rubik, and that should all but do it, it feels like, in favor of LGD. They're gonna definitely get the bottom racks and possibly more now.
Well, that's all she wrote. That team fight began pretty well for Vici Gaming. They were able to jump Earthshaker with both the Dragon Knight and the Lifestealer, and they're basically trying to front load as much damage as they can. But great Force Staff by Victoria. Okay. Defensive yield. I think he'll still die here. Oh no, Force Staff again!
Nice.
Man, it's like maybe Force Staff is a good item.
Yeah. Earthshaker is maybe thinking to himself, maybe I should have gotten that after
he's
all.
like, my support will get it for me. I have faith. It's fine.
True. Well, victory indeed for LGD. Again, game 1 of the series, but gotta say, LGD looked really good there in the draft of Chaos Knight, a hero that... Why don't we see Chaos Knight more? I mean, the hero just looked like he wrecked that game.
There's a lot of easy ways to... Because